Good morning, everyone. Have a great day today. I am sure that I will too. I would like to take a few moments and let everyone know that I am going to be part of the Save Homesteading community that's going on YouTube. And the reason I started homesteading, which I never really knew that's what it was called, and why I continue. So I grew up in the city, not the heart of the city, like a suburb, in a nice upper middle class neighborhood. And I still live in my childhood home. And although my yard is considered small, I've managed to make a garden that really works for me. I got all my produce this summer from my backyard. I didn't have to buy anything, not one thing. And I really liked that. I considered myself a prepper long before homesteading because I was taking care of my elderly parents and I have fibromyalgia, and I just didn't want to be going to the stores a lot in the wintertime and being exposed to the flu and bringing things back to my parents or to me, because if I got it, they would get it. And I wouldn't be able to take care of them during that time that I was down and out. So I really, in around September of October of every year, I would start buying like 2 weeks worth of stuff and then 3 weeks worth. And then, well, you know what? Coffee's on sale and I got the money. Well, you know what? Let's get 10 of them. Um, and it just kind of evolved from there. Now, in December of 2019, when I heard of that flu going around in China, uh, I had a feeling it was going to come here. And I said to myself, people travel, they don't, we don't know who we're coming in contact with. So I kind of stopped going out a lot. Like I was glad that I discovered Instacart at that time. And it really came in handy. And I just kept, every week, I'd put in an order and they deliver it. And it was very convenient. And my dad had passed a few years before. And it was just me and my mom. And I wouldn't have to get someone to stay with her. And I could still get our stockpile of stuff for the winter. So I started doing that. And then lo and behold, my daughter, her husband, and my grandchildren moved in with us temporarily because they were moving into a house, and they had previously lived across the street from us, so we were like everybody loves Raymond. And they moved in with us for a few months or for a while, and I was like, okay, well, I got my babies here now, my granddaughters and my daughter and my son-in-law. And I think it was more of a nurturing thing that I wanted to take care of all my family. So I upped the ante with the stockpiling and the planning ahead and the prepping, if you will. And it was a great, I want to say intuition, but it was a great decision that I made to do that because right after that, we all got locked down. And everybody was going crazy at the stores and what are they going to get? And there's shortages of this, there's shortages of that. And I was like, I'm sitting pretty, I got all my stuff. And when we did get locked down, I recall a conversation I had with my son in law, and I told him, I said, this is not just going to be a 15-day lockdown to, slow the curve. This is going to affect everything. And if those truckers can't get food and supplies in, we're in trouble. And so we made a decision then that we were just going to do as much as we could and prepare as much as we could and go to each room, take an inventory of everything we needed, and then I would like double it. And that's basically what I did. Lo and behold, they moved into their home, and it was just me and mom again. And again, I was blessed because I was able to have all the supplies I needed for her medications, her over the counter stuff, personal products. And, if my granddaughters or my daughter, somebody came over, I'd sneak out and go to the store. Hey, I'm going to the store. And I like shopping by myself instead of having Instacart pick stuff up for me. But it was a start. But getting back to the lockdown of 2020, in March of 2020, that's when I decided I needed to grow a garden. Now, I had dabbled with peppers and tomatoes and herbs and things like that, but never to the extent that I started in the summer of 2020 or that spring. I figured because my mom was the oldest, she's the matriarch of the family, but she was older. She was 90 and she couldn't do a whole lot. So I kind of took over and I said, okay, now, I want my granddaughters and my mom to have fruits and I want them to have vegetables. And if, I got enough proteins and I got enough yeast and to last me for X amount of time. And I ordered some seeds from Amazon and I planted I called it my revolt garden because there were some states where the governors were forbidding us to have a garden that year. I don't know if it happened where you lived, but a lot of places you'd go into like a Walmart or somewhere or a Home Depot and you could only get certain things and certain items and the garden supplies and seeds were all like yellow taped off like a crime scene, like God forbid you go buy seeds. So I ordered mine from Amazon and I started my garden and I have not looked back since. I like the secure feeling that I have, knowing that I have enough supplies to last a long, long time. I also like working with my hands, and I find that digging in the garden and getting down on my hands and knees and pulling weeds and planting seeds and harvesting, and there's something about that type of production, that productive work that you do is just so gratifying. And I feel so, so close to the Lord when I do that. Now, am I a full fledged homesteader? No, because I don't have any livestock. And I think if you're really going to homestead, you got to be, well, some people think you have to be off grid, you have to raise your own chickens and your own cows and to me, that's not my homesteading. My homesteading is being as self-sufficient as I possibly can, given what God has blessed me with, like using what He has blessed me with and being as absolutely independent as possible. So over the last couple of years, I've ramped up my garden and I got it to the point now where this year I didn't have to buy anything and I'm still harvesting some strawberries and some vegetables outside and it is mid-November, okay? It is November 11th. It's Veterans Day. So thank you for your service, veterans. I like to have all my supplies and know like what am I going to do if there's no heat? Well, I have a fireplace. I have a gas grill that I could cook on. I do have gas, but I have a working original fireplace in my home. I could cook on it. I could heat my home with it. You got to get accustomed to shutting off rooms if you have to. I live in New England. It gets very cold. I made sure I have water resources, and I hang my clothes on the clothesline just because I'm just that kind of person that I like being outdoors, doing that, smelling that freshness and that sunshine, and it's a good excuse to be out there. Sometimes I run my dishwasher, sometimes I don't. If it ever goes, I'm not going to replace it. Or sometimes I get lazy and I throw everything in there and I'll run it. Or sometimes I'll put it in there so I don't have to look at it and then take everything out and wash it by hand. I do know how to sew. I can make clothes. I can mend clothes. I have first aid supplies. And I have hobbies to keep me busy all winter because I want to keep my mind busy too. So I think homesteading is just being independent with what you have, as independent as you can possibly be with what you already have. You're going to work within your realm, work within your circle, and make do and figure it out. You don't say I can't it's not going to work. No, you figure out a way. If you don't have a garden, then buy some grow lights and grow some food inside. If it's winter and you want fresh produce or you want extra food and you don't have the money to buy it or whatever, you just like homegrown vegetables, buy a greenhouse. Make a greenhouse if you don't have the money to buy one for indoors. Get stock up on your potting soil and your fertilizer and seeds, and learn how to can food, learn how to dehydrate food, learn how to cook from scratch, everything from scratch, bread, everything. Learn how to do it. The very first homesteading project I did during March of 2020 was my daughter had bought some heavy whipped cream and never used it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to turn this into butter. I want to see if I can do it because there was going to be a butter shortage. And it took me a while, and I sat there and I shook it and shook it and shook it. And lo and behold, I had butter. So it can be done. You just got to play with it and teach yourself new skills and take advantage of our ability. I think we shortchange ourselves and we don't give ourselves enough credit for what we can do. We live in a I can't do it myself society. And you know what? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You have to make up your mind that you're going to do it, and you're going to be as self sufficient as you possibly can based on what you have already been blessed with. And everything that we do have is a blessing. Someday I might get chickens. I was thinking of it this year, but I think definitely in the spring I'm going to get some chickens. And I'll be all set. I will be all set. I buy things on sale and I can it and preserve it and